Welcome to Formation, a weekly podcast from University Christian Church in Fort Worth, Texas. During the season of Advent, we're doing some mini episodes to prepare ourselves for the upcoming Sunday in worship. Join us. I'm Shannon Moore, and this is Formation. Today we're continuing to talk about Advent. It is already, believe it or not, coming up on the third week
I can't believe
of
that.
Advent. This year, Thanksgiving was so late that it was like, oh, I'm full from turkey. And then suddenly I feel like Christmas is just
Yeah.
like in our faces. This is Reverend Mariah Newell. She is our minister of children. And thank you for being on today for this short conversation about our Advent text. And also kind of want you to be able to talk about something new that is going on in our worship services. So we'll get to that in just a second. The scripture that Russ has selected for his sermon this week is it's a difficult one. It's from Luke chapter 3, and it's a sermon by John the Baptist.
Yeah, it's a doozy.
Good old John. You know, he's never one to mince words.
No, he says it like it is.
So he's calling everybody a brood of vipers, and you're not prepared for the wrath to come, and all this stuff. But if we can sort of get past the bluster of his preaching style, we do get to a section where somebody says, "Look, what am I supposed to do? I mean, I can't fix all these other people. What am I supposed to do?" And I'm taking this from our Advent devotional, our weekly devotional, and basically in current day terms, John says nobody can do everything, but you do what you can do. So there was one person who was a tax collector, and they said, "What should I do?" John was like, "Don't take any more money than you're due." And a soldier, "What should I do?" "Don't intimidate and scare people. Do your job, and do it well." So what do you think about this idea? Do you sometimes feel, especially in ministry, this responsibility to fix everything?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I think Minister early on helped me by saying, you're not Superman. You don't put on a cape. You put on a robe. And yeah, that I feel that all the time. But I love John's message, even though he says it very bluntly and very, starts out with a hard opening, but like,
Attention getter for sure.
yes. But I mean, it does kind of leave you hopeful of like, okay, I'm focusing on my little corner of the world, my little community, my family, my, church, like, Fort Worth, it's not the world, it's not everything. It's just, okay, what can I do at school today? What can I do at home today? And I feel like that's super helpful of like one bite at a time.
And I think, especially in the way we live now, with news coming in at us from all over the world, 24 hours a day, it can just get overwhelming when you see fires and earthquakes and floods and unrest and wars. And I mean, it just gets so heavy. And there's absolutely no way we can tackle all of that. But what can we do today in this church, in my home, at this point?
And, too, he was being really blunt, but even just passing that along to people of like, you don't have to fix everything. Do what you can do. And just, if we all get on that page, then that ripples out. And it feels like, okay, I'm participating in something bigger, kind of like we did the Love Your Neighbor campaign. Like all those acts of kindness, Russ, said it was something like 30,000 acts of kindness.
Wow.
Like that ripples.
That makes a difference in the world. It reminds me, we have several folks here at UCC who, whenever they're coming into worship, if they see trash on the ground or they pick it up, they bring it in, they put it in the recycle bin or the trash. As a matter of fact, we found a beer can in the recycle bin a few weeks ago, and somebody said, "Do you think they needed that before or after worship?"
We'll never know.
But no, it was an usher who
Yeah.
came in and saw it from the day there was a football game the day before,
Yeah.
and somebody had left a beer can. He didn't leave it there. He picked it up. It's just those little
Yeah.
small things, the things that we can do. Do the good that is yours to do is the name of the Russ's sermon this weekend. I just love that so much.
I really do too. It just is so helpful.
Well, the good that you do is with children, and you have brought something new into our worship space, into the sanctuary, and I just want you to talk about that a little bit
Yeah.
and share that with our listeners and our viewers.
So, what we've dreamed up is something called UCC Kids Corner, and I'm really excited about it. A couple of aspects to it is it will change, but right now it's clipboards. The clipboards open up and they have fidget toys in them, they have coloring, like crayons in them, they have coloring pages, activity pages, and all of those, and a worship bulletin just specifically for kids that go along with Russ's message.
So it's not, rabbits and, just random stuff
No.
to keep kids busy
No.
and preoccupied during, this is about them worshiping.
Yeah, it's a way of inviting them into the space that's developmentally appropriate for them and engaging for them so that when they're hearing the scripture, they're engaging with, like with Mary that's this week or John the Baptist, they have activities that they are doing in their clipboard that are going along with John the Baptist and going along with doing the good that is theirs to do. And so it's a way to help them get engaged. So we are starting a year-long partnership with Christmount, and part of that is by doing...
Tell us what Christmount is.
Oh, Christmount is the the denominational national campground. So Christian Church Disciples of Christ has campgrounds all across the different states. But this one is, it's the national one. It's the one that everybody can congregate at it. And
in North Carolina.
In North Carolina, and they were devastated by Hurricane Helene. They weren't expecting it. They had mudslides and rain and no real way to prepare, and it happened within hours. And they do wonderful programs like camps for children on the spectrum and for adults who are on the spectrum. And they're also a home, like 75 people and families live there. Like it's a small little community that was just truly devastated. And so we have a little excavator in the worship space that collects coins. So the kids can put their coins at the top and they zigzag down into the little belly of the excavator. And all of those donations are going to go directly to Christmount to help them rebuild and restart. And part of what we're going to do is helping kids realize that recovery takes time. Partnership and service takes time, and it's not a one-time thing. And so we're starting with this coin donation, but there's going to be other things that they're going to need, like crayons for the campground. And so we're going to do drives to do collections to help them get back on their feet. And Reverend Rob Morris, who's out at Christmount, is going to be sending us back pictures for the kids to see what their donations are doing.
So cool.
So that's all at Kids Corner. That's kind of the interactive element. The interactive element is going to change throughout the different seasons of the church. And so I'm just really excited to see how kids engage with this.
But I love, Mariah, that you have that giving aspect in the worship space, because giving is a part of worship, and I think sometimes we forget that. We might get a little cynical about why church is always asking for money and that sort of thing. But it is one of the ways that we can do the good that is. Together we pool our resources and we help support not only our church but others in the world, and for the kids to go into worship and give an offering that they know is going to be used to help somebody else. That's so important.
Yeah, and I think it goes great with this message of do the good that's yours to do, because, we might raise $10, we might raise $20, but that's a $10, $20 that Christmount doesn't have to spend. And it all just adds up when you're doing disaster recovery. And
Like that old book, Stone Soup.
Yes. Yeah, we read
just,
that a couple weeks ago in Children's Church.
Just put everything together and then everybody gets to eat. So I hadn't thought about that book in a long time. That made me smile. Well, thanks so much for being on and for chatting about the Kids Corner. Really excited about that,
Yeah.
and I think our kiddos will really appreciate that, and their parents, because
Yeah.
there's a connection there of what everybody is, the same message everybody's hearing. They can talk about it as a family. So
I
thank
love
you
that too.
for doing that,
Yeah.
doing the work that is yours to do.
Thank you. Thank you
And,
for having me.
Hope that you are having a wonderful Advent season. We'll see you next time. Take care. Believe it or not, this Sunday is already the third Sunday of Advent. We hope that you will join us in person or online at University Christian Church as we continue our series, Begin Again. This Sunday, our senior minister, Russ Peterman, will preach a sermon titled, Do the Good That Is Yours, based on texts from the Gospel of Luke and from the prophet Isaiah. We hope that we can be a part of your Advent journey here at University Christian Church as we begin again.